Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to tonight's webinar where I'm going to be sharing with you about essential oils on a budget, how to use essential oils without breaking the bank. And make sure here that we can see the screen, which should be correct. Okay. Yep. So a little bit about me. So I am a doTERRA wellness advocate and an essential oils educator. I'm doing this since 2011. So that's going on, wow, 12 years now. I guess that's a long time. I'm also a health coach certified with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition since 2014. I'm also a Hashimoto's Thriver, an autoimmune rehab podcaster. I've been gluten-free since 2013. I am a dog lover and an avocado lover. So why are we doing this class tonight on essential oils on a budget? Well, essential oils can be expensive and we all need to save money. So I thought that I would do this presentation on how to use essential oils on a budget and how to not break the bank. Okay, so let's check this next one. So before we get started, I want to talk to you a little bit about the quality of essential oils and make sure that I really make sure that this is really emphasized. So the quality of essential oils is a really big deal. There are a lot of different essential oils on the market, and the quality of all of them is not the same. And there are a couple of things that you want to keep in mind. So one thing is you really want to be able to get the lab tests for whatever essential oils you are using. And with doTERRA essential oils, you can actually scan a barcode on every bottle and it will pull up a copy of their lab results online once you do that. You also want to make sure that each essential oil lists the Latin name for that essential oil. And also you want to be really extremely aware of any essential oils that they're charging the same price for all the different kinds. So there are a few things to keep in mind there as well. So, for example, lemon and orange essential oil should be a lot less expensive than say, or well, somewhat less expensive, let's put it this way, than peppermint and lavender. And essential oils like rose and frankincense should be a lot more. So you want to be really, really cautious when you get into that. And personally, I do not recommend purchasing or using any essential oils that come from like Amazon or Walmart or even a lot of Whole Food stores or anything like that, because these kinds of essential oils are not going to give you the kind of results that you are probably looking for when it comes to an actual medical use of essential oils. So you really don't want to sacrifice quality for price, or yeah, quality and price. You don't want to get those confused. So even though we are talking about how to share, and I mean rather how to use essential oils on a budget, your budget shouldn't mean that you just go buy the cheapest essential oils possible. And to really hit this home, one example I want to share with you is a little bit about a wintergreen experiment that was done. And if you want more information on this wintergreen experiment, I can get it for you. But basically, the gist of what happened is that doTERRA's science team went and found 27 different bottles of essential oil from all different locations that were brand that were marked, and the label said that it had birch or had wintergreen. Sorry about that, not winter. Actually, it was really more the birch experiment. Sorry, I'm kind of getting this a little bit confused. It was actually winter. Okay, so birch experiment. What happened? They were all marked as saying that they had birch essential oil on the bottle. But then when they actually tested them, none of the 27 bottles that they tested actually had birch essential oil in them. What happened is that most of them either had wintergreen essential oil in them and not birch. And wintergreen and birch have very similar chemical compounds. So it can be really hard if you're not doing really high quality testing of your essential oils to determine the difference between birch and wintergreen. And so these 27 bottles all claimed that they were birch when in fact they were wintergreen. And in most cases, but in some cases, there actually was testing that showed that it were actually expired bottles of Tylenol instead, which is really scary because you really obviously don't want that going into your bloodstream as part of an essential oil. And so another thing to be aware of is that both birch and wintergreen have similar chemical compounds to aspirin and Tylenol, which is what makes them such good for helping with pain relief. But that's also why you have to be really, really careful of the quality of what kind of an essential oil you're using, because some of these essential oils can, for various reasons, end up, like I said, with things like, having the drug in not the actual essential oil. And so, just because an essential oil says, for example, that it is rose or frankincense or birch or whatever, unfortunately, it doesn't actually mean that it is that essential oil. And so that is where having the lab tests and knowing the quality and a little bit behind the company that is selling it to you, that is where that's really, really important. And then the last point on here to be aware of is that a lot of other brands other than doTERRA's essential oils are created for cosmetic purposes and to be used as perfume and part of cosmetics, not with medicine. And so that's where it's really, really important that you know your quality. So back to the whole idea that even though when you're talking about using them on a budget and saving money, I'm not suggesting you just go buy cheap brands to save money. So instead, what we actually are going to talk about is there's going to be two different aspects. So this first aspect, we're going to talk about how to save money when you actually buy doTERRA essential oils. And the second aspect I'm going to talk about is a couple of different ways to use those essential oils once you have them that will save you money. So the first aspect here, how to save money when you actually buy doTERRA. So the first aspect here is to always have a wholesale membership and never ever pay the retail price. This past summer, doTERRA changed a lot of things. It used to be that you either had to pay a membership fee to enroll and have a wholesale membership, or you had to buy a minimum order, that kind of thing. They then got rid of those things. And so now it is free to enroll as a wholesale member. And then after a year, you pay a $25 fee, but with that, you get a free peppermint currently. Although they are saying that at some point in time, you may be able to even choose a different free oil that is worth at least $25 or more. So you basically, in effectiveness, are not paying to be a wholesale member. And so, it's really pointless to pay that extra 25% for retail is just ridiculous. And there are additional benefits and things that you get by actually being a wholesale member. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to consider being on loyalty rewards with at least 50 PV every month. Now, granted, this does require you to be basically on an auto ship. And I know some of you are probably saying you don't want to do that. Well, the thing is if you're only using essential oils, then yes, depending on the size of your family or your household, it might be difficult for you to actually consume that much every month if you're only using essential oils. However, if you keep in mind that doTERRA also has supplements, cleaning products, skincare, toothpaste, mouthwash, other products like that, I'm going to find it really hard to believe that you can't consume that much in the course of a month if you actually are using all the products and you're learning how to use them, that kind of thing. And in fact, most people go way over that. That said, if you learn how to use your essential oil smartly, you probably won't need to go much over that unless you are using like the collagen and some of the other probiotics and things like that that are not essential oils and that are more costly. Okay, the third thing is, and this is a new program that launched this summer as well, is the Refer a Friend. Now, what Refer a Friend does is it lets wholesale customers earn up to $600 per year in credits for free products as a customer. So this lets you share a custom link, and when somebody enrolls using that custom link as a wholesale member, as a customer, you get credits for doTERRA products for that. So the reality is that, you know, most of us share and talk about products we love, whether it's a favorite book, a favorite movie, a favorite song, a concert we went to, a restaurant, all those kinds of things. Yet more often than not, we don't really get paid to actually share that. This is doTERRA's way of giving back and helping you save money and helping you be able to get some credits to be able to then turn around and use on your purchases, and therefore saving you quite a bit of money. And even if, you know, you obviously don't want to do it as a business, if you were going to do it as a business, then this is a whole different conversation. But it's assumes you just want to stay a customer and you want to maybe share with a few friends to get some credits to help you pay for your essential oils. I'm going to start coughing here for a minute, so I'm going to need to get a drink. Okay. So then the other thing to keep in mind is that every month doTERRA has a 10% off promotion on one of the products. Now, most of the time it's an essential oil, occasionally it might be one of the supplements, is to keep in mind of which product is 10% off for the month. And if that's a product that you use on a regular basis or that you like using, then, you know, that would be the time to buy it, is when it's 10% off. And then the other thing is that there are also quarterly BOGOs. This is a buy one, get one free, typically on a selection of about 5 to 6 products. And usually they happen quarterly. Typically they're in November, February, May, and August, but that isn't necessarily set in stone. They can be at different times of the year. So that's another advantage to being a wholesale member, is that you always get a notification. Hey, we're having BOGOs, and the November BOGOs were last week. So you just missed the ones for November, and they were really good. But anyhow, so that's another opportunity for you to save big as well. Then you also have things like 200 PV promotions. So 200 PV basically means, it depending on what you buy, it could be $200. 200 PV, it's basically a point value. So some things like the supplements, for example, the collagen is, and some of the supplements typically are more like, say, about $85 with a 70 PV. So it means you have to do an order that equals 200 PV or more, and then you would receive a free frankincense, and that's the promotion in December every year. And then sometimes there are other 200 PV promotions throughout the year that offer free products, that kind of thing. So basically just staying up to date with what the promotions are going on. And doTERRA always contacts you. Typically, especially if it's a really good promotion, I try to contact anybody that is my wholesale customer in addition to doTERRA contacting them. There's also promotions on Facebook, that kind of thing for it. Let you know what's going on. So that's how those things are. Okay, so now let's move on to the next aspect, which is how to use oils wisely once you actually have them in your hand to save more money. So the first thing that you can do to save money and use your oils wisely is to use oils that you use frequently, especially for topical purposes only. So for example, this is a balance blend, which, since I'm screen sharing, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but basically there are a lot of different oils, especially some of the ones like the emotional well-being, that's what balance is. Also, you have things like tea tree or melaleuca or oregano or even peppermint. Some of these ones, they sell them pre-made in roller bottles for topical use, and typically they are anywhere between 20% to 40% less expensive to purchase them in a pre-made diluted roller bottle than they are if you buy just the oil itself. And I find that the oil typically lasts longer when you use it in a pre-made roller bottle as well. It typically, you know, it's easier for you to not overdose and accidentally use too much and therefore waste money. Or, you know, for the ones that don't come pre-made, you can create your own roller bottles pretty easily. A lot of places you can go to places like oillife.com is a good place. Even Amazon sells roller bottles where you can dilute them down and that kind of thing. The other thing you can do is you can also use a little dropper to make sure you don't use too much. And I was trying to see if I could find one. I don't really use droppers a ton personally, but there are these little plastic dropper things. You could probably find them on Amazon even, where you basically allow you to use the dropper in connection with the essential oil bottle, and make sure that you don't get too much essential oil out of your bottle so that you are not so that you're just not dumping it all over yourself. Then the next one here too is to make sure you're properly educated about how to use the oils, how much is needed, that kind of thing. And I put this one on here because I find that sometimes people think that they need a lot more than they actually need. So, for example, some of the oils, especially the hotter oils that are super powerful, things like, let's go back to oregano, for example, you really only need maybe 1 drop, max 2, which is where having it diluted in a roller bottle can really help. Or, if you do use the regular bottle, making sure that you dilute with a carrier oil like coconut oil, almond oil, things like that. And that you're really super careful that you're not dumping out by mistake 5, 6, 7 drops, that you're really only using just a few, because you really don't need that much and you want to make sure that you are really careful. So then the other thing that you can do here is making sure that you use some resources like Wellness Nook, for example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I need to open up a new window. Let's see. And move this here so that I can open this up. Okay. This bar down, and I think I can find where it's at. Let's see. I can tell you the URL for it. Let's see. There we go. Okay, this is Wellness Nook. So you basically can just go here and create an account, and what happens is this is a comprehensive library that gives you access to, let me go back to, that's in the chat, a whole bunch of different digital books. And oops, it got posted on that. That's not what I want it to do. Let's see, I need to go in here. Okay, I guess I may have to stop share for just a minute to get it into the chat, not onto my PowerPoint. It gives you free 3 months access to digital library of essential oil training books. Essential oil books. And then after 3 months, they will bill you $4.95 per month. So you want to make sure that if after 3 months you don't want it, that you cancel, because otherwise you will get billed the $4.95. Personally, I found it to be super helpful, and it it's really good. It's from a third-party company that is made up of some people that are super familiar with doTERRA, that work, some of them either used to work in corporate, used to be wellness advocates, but aren't anymore, but have studied the essential oils significantly and have lots of different recipes, all different kinds of things. So it's a really good resource for really good education. It's not something I make any money off of. I'm just telling you about it because it definitely can help, especially in a quest to learn how to use oils wisely. Okay, then the next thing that we have on here is learn about alternatives to expensive oils, because many have similar chemical properties. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go grab a book that actually shows you what I'm talking about with that. So I'm going to have to stop my screen share on that now. And I think, let's see, I think I'm going to actually have to, there, I think now you can kind of see it. So I can put in the resource chat what this is called. This particular book is called A Symphony of the Cells book. I'm going to put that in there. Of the cells. And there are other ways to find this information as well. This just happened to be the best way that I could find it. And in addition to some different protocols for applications of essential oils in different orders and things, it has at the back of this book what's called, and actually I think even being blurred, I still don't think. I think I'm just going to have to go not blurred. No, not blurred. Just regular. There we go. Now I think it might be a little easier to see, but anyhow, you probably still can't see it great, but the idea behind it is it's this oil substitution list. So what it does is it lists different oils and then has 3 different substitutes for it. And in some cases, the substitutes might be more expensive, which, kind of, but anyhow, in some cases, the essential oils may be cheaper. So for example, on here for bergamot, which is not a super expensive essential oil, 2 of the alternatives that it lists on here are grapefruit and lime, and both of those are cheaper than bergamot. Also for birch, you can use wintergreen, which we already talked about earlier with that whole birch experiment thing, that wintergreen and birch are pretty similar, and cypress as well. And wintergreen and cypress are both going to be substantially less expensive than birch. Also, you have on here, for example, blue tansy, which is it's one of probably the top 5 most expensive essential oils. You have Roman chamomile, which is not super cheap, but nonetheless cheaper than blue tansy. You also have the soothing blend, which would be like the deep blue. That's definitely going to be cheaper. Yarrow palm, which again, not super cheap, but still cheaper than blue tansy. You have cardamom, which is not super expensive, but definitely not quite as cheap. And on here you have eucalyptus as one of the substitutes, and eucalyptus is definitely less expensive. So you get the idea. You have different things here. So for example, for frankincense, it says, for example, well, it lists pink pepper. Pink pepper actually, because it comes in a smaller bottle, technically it's, I think, even a little bit more costly when you compare the size of the bottle and the cost. But then you've got fennel listed as a substitute as well, and fennel is quite a bit cheaper than frankincense. So anyhow, this can be pretty interesting and helpful if you're wanting to figure out, okay, I don't really have the money for some of these pricier oils. What can I do? What can I use instead that might be a little bit less expensive? This oil substitution list can work pretty well. Like I say, you probably could find some other information, similar information online. It's just happened to be a book that I have that had that information. Okay, so let me back to the screen now. Okay, so that was, yeah, okay, so learn about the alternatives to expensive essential oils. That was the last one. Okay, so then these are basically the ideas, and then we'll stop recording and open up for questions. But basically, so a couple of final words. So oils are great, but they should not be used to cover up problems or replace eating healthy, getting the right amount of supplements, etc. This can be another reason that people sometimes end up using too many essential oils or that kind of thing. Like I said, if you have a need for too many oils, you need to get to the root cause of your health issues instead. Don't try to use essential oils as a way to cover things up. Really try to actually heal yourself. And then I have on here, so if you want to actually talk more, the meet.annalaurabrown.com is my Calendly. We can schedule a one-on-one to delve into more on this. And then discoveroilsnow.com is my actual doTERRA site. So that is all that I had for the actual class. So let me stop screen sharing then and see. Let's see. Okay, stop screen sharing. And I'm going to stop recording now then too, and we will see if we have anybody that wants to